We are going to be talking about the potential for some thunderstorms later in the evening as we go into the western portions of KELOLAND, but to the east, not so much. We have a pretty decent day on the way, highs in the low to mid 80s, 70s toward Rapid City, but again, we do have that chance for some thunderstorms in the cards out that way, even into the first part of your night. Some of those storms could be strong to severe. Further east, some cloud cover, but quieter all the same. We'll talk about the rest of your 7-day forecast coming up in a little bit, but until then, Midday in KELOLAND starts right now.
Live from KELOLAND Media Group, Midday in KELOLAND.
Officials released the name of the drowning victim found in the Pactola Reservoir, plus.
The White House is tracking the fallout from a short-lived revolt in Russia that posed a serious challenge to Vladimir Putin's power. I'm Natalie Brand with the significance of this weekend's developments.
Good afternoon and thanks for having us in. Ellsworth Air Force Base says an active duty airman is the person who drowned at Pactola Reservoir over the weekend. The Public Affairs Office says the 20-year-old airman drowned on Saturday. Water rescue divers and an underwater robot located his body near where he went missing. Sheriff Brian Mueller credits the quick recovery to the coordinated efforts of all teams involved. The Clark County Sheriff's Office just posted a $1,500 reward for information on a recent shooting of a 2-month-old colt. Police suspect the shooting happened sometime June 9th and June 11th. The young colt was found shot by a large bore rifle along 432nd Avenue in Clark County. Witnesses report hearing loud gunshots, then seeing a blue Ford pickup speeding away from the area. Authorities ask if you can check any security cameras. If you have any information, you're encouraged to call the Clark County Sheriff's Office. Sioux Falls police are searching for a suspect in a late-night burglary. Police say someone hid inside an employee bathroom in the East Side Target on June 25th. After everyone left the store, the suspect left the bathroom and took several items from the store. Police say when the suspect left, they set off the alarm and fled. If you have any information on the theft, call police. And Sioux Falls police are looking for a 12-year-old runaway. Police say Avery Debert, who goes by Liam, was last seen on Saturday. Authorities say Debert has shoulder-length orange hair and green eyes. If you have information about the 12-year-old, you're asked to call Sioux Falls police. The National Park Service has denied South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem's latest application for a permit to have fireworks in Mount Rushmore. Noem applied for the July 2023 permit last summer. KELOLAND News reached out to the NPS to find out what happened with that request and received a response, saying after careful consideration, the Park Service was unable to grant the governor's request to hold a special event with fireworks at the memorial. And this is the third year in a row the NPS has denied the state's permit applications. The first 2 years, the NPS cited environmental concerns and objections from Native American tribes. Turning our focus to weather, looks like a pleasant Monday. We have 80s today, and for the foreseeable future, some chances for rain, but no real washouts on the horizon, right, Adam?
Oh, no. We'll have some scattered thunderstorms in a couple of locations, and in the short term, that focus is going to be out to the west especially. We're also going to keep an eye on the skies for a little bit of haze. You can see some filtered sunshine over the waters at Lake Madison. There is a little bit of smoke in the atmosphere today. 73 north wind at 11 miles per hour, and 77 with a view downtown. Northeast winds at 10 miles per hour. So again, not a bad day to get outside by any stretch of the imagination, but you will want to keep that in mind if you are very sensitive to smoke in the air or anything like that. You will want to take it easy if you're going to be outside for a while. 77 is also your number in Sisseton, Watertown, Huron, and Mitchell. 70 Phillip and Rapid City. 60s though, Custer and Pine Ridge along with Valentine. Winds yesterday were pretty strong East River. Today, they're tolerable, 10 to 15 miles per hour in general to the east, near 20 mile per hour winds out of the north in Worthington. To the west, we have mainly calm winds unless you're in Buffalo, and then to a greater extent Rapid City as well as Pine Ridge. Now, we had some showers and thunderstorms earlier this morning in southwestern South Dakota. Now just a few little isolated showers trying to crash the party in Todd, Millette, and possibly Tripp County. More of the activity is down to Cherry County near Valentine. This will all gradually meander on through to the east, but then the atmosphere is expected to reload later this evening into the first part of your night with a marginal risk in green toward Valentine and a slight risk level 2 in yellow for Rapid City, Spearfish down to Custer, Hot Springs, and Ogallala, Lakota County as well. We'll go into a little more detail on that in a few minutes. But for the rest of your day today, we're looking at low to mid 80s for high temperatures in southeastern as well as northeastern KELOLAND with a decent breeze in place, plenty of sunshine, and also low levels of humidity. To the west will be in the 80s the closer to the Missouri River you go. Toward the Wyoming and Montana borders, we're in the 70s, but again, we do need to keep an eye on the skies later in the evening. We'll talk about that and the rest of your 7-day forecast coming up.
Thank you, Adam. The biggest stars in sprint car chased the biggest prize in World of Outlaws history Saturday at Houston Speedway. The High Bank Nationals ended its 4-day run in Brandon with a $250,000 to win the race. A record crowd of more than 10,000 people attended the finale, which was won by David Gravel.
It's one of the top 3 wins of his career, and it's good for the sport and it's good for Houston Speedway.
The money is $100,000 more than I won in Knoxville Nationals, so that makes it a lot better.
The Houston's High Bank Nationals will return June 19th through the 22nd, 2024, with the final race once again paying $250,000 to win. President Joe Biden recently announced how much money each state is set to receive from a large federal investment in broadband expansion. The amount each state and territory will receive from the $42.5 billion program depends primarily on the number of unserved locations in each jurisdiction. Congress approved the Broadband Equity Access and Deployment Program along with several other internet expansion initiatives through the infrastructure bill that Biden signed. States will have until the end of the year to submit initial proposals outlining how they plan to use the money. An uneasy calm has returned to Russia after a short-lived armed rebellion over the weekend shook President Vladimir Putin and his government. Natalie Brand reports now from the White House.
President Biden and U.S. allies are watching very closely after mercenary troops initially fighting for Russia revolted. The leader of the group, Yevgeny Prigozhin, marched his troops within 120 miles of Moscow before both sides called a truce. Most analysts see the unrest as an unprecedented challenge to Russian President Vladimir Putin's 23-year reign.
These extraordinary events not only give the appearance of weakness, but actually show real weakness by Putin.
Tensions have been growing for months between Prigozhin, the leader of the Wagner Group, and Russian defense officials. Prigozhin accused the Russian military of killing his men with a missile strike in Ukraine. On Saturday, Wagner troops crossed into Russia and headed toward the capital. They halted after Russia ally Belarus helped negotiate a deal. As part of the agreement, criminal charges against Prigozhin would be dropped and he would go into exile in Belarus. President Biden has been meeting with his top national security advisors. The Secretary of State calls it an unfolding story and says he believes we haven't seen the last act. John Sullivan is the former U.S. ambassador to Russia.
I would think the preeminent concern of American officials today, who's in control in Moscow, and in particular, who's controlling the largest stockpile of nuclear weapons in the world.
Meanwhile, Ukrainian soldiers took advantage of the chaos in Russia to go on the attack, clearing Russian trenches near the town of Bakhmut. It's part of a major counteroffensive operation aimed at driving Russian troops out of Ukraine. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Washington.
Prigozhin and his Wagner Group have been fighting on Russia's behalf for years. Many don't believe the leader will stay in exile. And many also believe he could also be a target for Russian assassins.